Barbara, we made it.
I don't believe it.
London, 1965.
Hello, Doctor Who fans, and welcome to the Who Universe News as we're here to discuss about some new developments in regards to the season finale of Doctor Who. We finally had an update regarding the series finale. A synopsis has just come out for The Legend of Ruby Sunday that has released, and it's going to be airing at 6:30 next Saturday. And we also have the cast list that has got some interesting, got a couple of names worth taking a look at to give us a sort of a taste of what we can expect next weekends in the first part of our series finale of season 1. And this is what and it's going to be 45 minutes the first half. So this is what the synopsis is for The Legend of Ruby Sunday. The Doctor and Unit investigate Ruby's past, but as the time window reveals a horrifying secret from Christmas Eve, the mysterious Trident technology unleashes the greatest evil of all. So, I wonder who that could be. A very interesting tease, the greatest evil of all. I wonder what that could end up turning out to be. I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But the main parts to note in terms of the cast list is that we do have Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, Gemma Redgrave is back, Mel Bush, Bonnie Lamford is returning, Yasmin Finney, Rose Noble. You may remember from the 60th anniversary, she's back. We also have Lenny Rush playing Morris Gibson, who is the new character. We also have Susan Twist playing Susan Trident, who's essentially her main character finally being introduced. And then we have Harriet that's being introduced played by an actor called Genesis Lauren. I'm pretty sure he's new or something. Some kind of a new actor or actress that we haven't heard of before. We have Bailey Sinclave character that's being played by a new actor or actress. Also, we have, obviously, we do have Ruby Sunday's family, Clara Sunday and Cherry Sunday. Mrs. Flood is returning. We also have a character called the Phoenix that's being introduced. And funny enough, it's being voiced by the Dalek voice actor Nicholas Brigg, which is very interesting. So the fact that it's being voiced by him, you have to wonder, could this lead to the return of the Daleks potentially? Could we be seeing Daleks coming back maybe? I don't know, but I just find it interesting he's been cast in this finale, and yet he's not playing his usual characters, which is very interesting. So yeah, I wonder what that could mean. Could that mean that maybe a surprise return enemy could be planned in the series finale? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Nevertheless, this is what we know about the series finale for now. Either way, I am very, very excited to see how it all unfolds for the finale of Doctor Who's for this finale, The Legend of Ruby Sunday. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest around this episode. And interestingly enough, the reason why it's on a little bit earlier is because the Euro football is going to be following Doctor Who at 7:20, and that's going to take its way all the way to the news. So basically, football is going to follow. It's going to be what's going to follow Doctor Who pretty much. But we do have also some details about the Doctor Who Unleashed for that weekend, which is the Legend of Ruby Sunday episode. It's going to be obviously roughly 29 minutes. But they have said that in the first part of this thrilling finale, Stefan Paffin catches up with the cast of Unit. Stefan has some work experience with the political department, and plus an exclusive interview with Susan Twist and Russell T Davies. So he does chat with Susan Twist about her character, which is going to be very, very interesting. So that's all going to be happening next Saturday, 7:20 on BBC Three if you want to be there to see. And of course, it'll be on BBC iPlayer before it arrives on the telly if you fancy learning what Susan Twist's mind process was when becoming this mysterious character. Might be very interesting to learn some intel about what we can get about her character and why her character keeps popping up in this series. But nevertheless, that is some stuff we know about Doctor Who coming into next Saturday to set us up for the finale of the series, which is happening happening next week. Now, of course, I do also want to, it's also important to, I believe we also got some further details where they said on the, it's interesting because in the script, they also go on a little bit further when they say they're crashing down to present day Earth with a bang a few sparks and give me the loving. They need units help to investigate Ruby's past, and an old tape may hold the key. So, and the whole existence is in grave danger. So it turns out that a lot of things are from Ruby's past is starting to unleash. It seems, which I'd be very interested to see what that thing is going to be. Be very intrigued. Might be something very interesting is going to happen in the series finale that we're not aware of yet. But I just thought I'd mention that because it's very, very interesting synopsis we're getting for the first half of the two-part finale that might set the tone for what we could see in part two, which I think part two is going to be very interesting to see what happens. As well as that, we do have pictures of Rogue that came out in preparation for the release of the story, which is happening. And of course, it'll be on BBC One tomorrow night if you want to see the Rogue story. I'm still calling it that mysterious Rogue character is going to be Captain Jack. I call it this guy is going to be the new Captain Jack of Russell's new era of Doctor Who. I'm very confident that's what we're looking at. It just makes sense. It would be Captain Jack, right? It just adds value to it. So I'm hoping I'm right. This is going to be Captain Jack, but we'll find out in a few hours, tomorrow, whether I am right about the suspicions of the character known as Rogue. Now, as well, so that's just some of the things that we know regarding the upcoming stories of Doctor Who. And of course, we also need to acknowledge, as I showed at the beginning of this video about the whole London 1965. The reason why I showed that is because earlier this week, on the 3rd of June, just recently, we did hear about a passing of a former Doctor Who companion, perhaps who is also considered the very first companion of Doctor Who, along with Karen Ann Ford. William Russell died at the age of 99. He never made it to 100, which is very unfortunate. But yes, this young man right here, William Russell, as you can see with William Hart, along with Jacqueline Hill and Karen Ann Ford. These four were the reason why Doctor Who existed. These are the four that made Doctor Who what it is today. If it wasn't for these four, we wouldn't be having Doctor Who today. William Russell was essentially a part of that team, being basically one of the original cast members, Doctor Who from 1963, 1965, and he was a part of that very beginning of the show's existence. And the fact that he also came back in 2013 to play a security guard for the docudrama telling the story of how Doctor Who was born in its 50th anniversary. He also had a role in other programs, Father Brown, Blackadder, Robin of Sherwood. He's also appeared on that. He also played Ted Sullivan for 46 episodes in Coronation Street in 1992. He was featured in films such as The Man Who Never Was, The Great Escape, Who They Who Dare, One Good Turn. He also appeared in The Adventures of Sir Lannister, which is a TV series that they ended up doing a storyline of that on Doctor Who, talking about Sir Lannister or the whole King Richard the Lion storyline. Which was one of his favorites he talks about. He also appeared in Hamlet with Alan Guinness, just to name some of the projects that he did over the years. And he also, lucky enough, probably his last appearance on the telly was, of course, when he had the chance to return to Doctor Who for the BBC Centurion special, The Power of the Doctor, when he had a chance to work with some previous companions of Doctor Who, as well as Jodie Whittaker, to celebrate the 100th birthday of the BBC for the Doctor Who special that they were doing for that occasion. And also Russell had a chance to meet the guy as well. Yeah, it's really really sad that this man who really enjoyed his passion as being a member of the Doctor Who team has it's just crazy that William Russell has been through a lot over the years, and he's done a lot of TV commitments, and it's now rests peacefully at the age of 99. So R.I.P. William Russell. You'll certainly be missed by a lot of Doctor Who fans. We'll look up to you as one of the first companions, the original companions of Doctor Who. And the reason why the show exists 60 years plus on is because of your commitment to the original cast team, Bill Hart. You can't lie. William Russell was responsible for why the show still exists. If it wasn't for him, the show wouldn't be still here, would it? with William Russell on the team. But now we move forward to talk about Stephen Moffat's new show for ITV that's finally had trailers and images come out. It's called Douglas is Cancelled. Karen Gillan, you'll notice, is in this program along with Hugh Bonneville, who you may recognize these actor and actresses in familiar films and shows. Well, this entire series is essentially a comedy drama about council culture set in the world of television, where they're obviously playing an on-screen presenting duo, Douglas and Madeline, the hosts at Live at 6. And it's basically an opportunity for like a mini Doctor Who reunion because you have Gillan, Kingston, and Bonneville all appearing during Stephen Moffat's run as the showrunner. Because yes, Alex Kingston does appear as Shirley in this show. Yeah, essentially it's more about cancel culture. Is this whole drama, and they're doing a whole drama, a comedy drama based around the whole cancel culture that they're going to be rolling out later this month on ITV1 and ITVX. So be sure to look out on ITVX if you want to check out this new drama that Stephen Moffat, or comedy drama that he's going to be rolling out to ITV later in the month. For anybody who might be interested in checking out this new project that he's doing on ITV. All right, so I just this section into the Who Universe news because this has only just come up quite recently, and in fact, it's been featured on the schedules for next Tuesday, and that is the fact that BBC put a surprise Tale of the TARDIS on their schedule for Thursday, the 20th of June. The only synopsis we can get for it, and it's really interesting because apparently this one's slightly longer than the previous ones. It's been listed as an hour and 16 minutes, and all we can basically gather from this is essentially this sort of description is all we've got to basically go on with. And it basically says this: the Doctors and old friends reunite to remember their travels in space and time from the dawn of human history to distant alien world, which is very, very cryptic there, isn't it? The fact that they say Doctors and old friends reunite. I wonder who they're referring to when they say Doctors and old friends. Are we talking like companions? Are we talking about maybe members of Plastic Unit potentially showing up? So for instance, could we see the likes of Sergeant Benton potentially show up in this episode? I mean, it would be quite a shock to see him, considering it's been probably years since we last saw Sergeant Benton in any New Who related. Well, he hasn't even appeared in New Who, so it'd be quite pleasing to see him actually. But yeah, it's really interesting that they've decided to schedule this on BBC4 just days, well, roughly 2 days before the season finale begins, which is on the 2 days before the season finale, the final part of that season finale, which makes you wonder if there is something in this Tales of the TARDIS that's actually going to have clues to what's gonna, maybe this is gonna tie in to in the final part, Empires of Death potentially. I don't know. What do you reckon? Is it going to tie in to this story potentially, and that's why they've decided to broadcast this just 2 days before Empires of Death? Maybe that may explain why we're seeing this, because it's very bizarre why this has been scheduled for television, because it begs the question, what does this all mean? Does it mean anything? Is there a reason for them to put this out? Because it is a bit, some would look at this as a bit random for them to just randomly put this out and not have any meaning to what's going on in the season finale. So surely if they're doing this, this would obviously mean that either this is a tease that old friends of the Doctors are going to be returning, well, maybe more old friends are going to be returning in the season finale, so we might see some more old faces potentially return, or this is going to be just a little something fun for Doctor Who to do. But I think it has more meaning, because you wouldn't just be randomly putting this out towards the end of the season finale if there was no reason to tie it into it. And also, stuff like this usually is reserved for like anniversaries of Doctor Who, which we've only just come off the 60th anniversary, because that was back in November, and yet we didn't have any TV broadcasts of Tales of the TARDIS. It's only this one that has had scheduled TV release of Tales of the TARDIS. So unless it ends up being like a repeat of Tales of the TARDIS, but as far as we know, this is apparently brand new. So yeah, it definitely sounds to me like this is going to be an entirely new Tales of the TARDIS, unless it's a repeat, which it doesn't really say it is a repeat, because if it was, then it would have recognized it's on BBC iPlayer, but because it's not on BBC iPlayer, this has to be brand new. This one we're getting. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section of this Tales of the TARDIS, because to me it sounds like that we're getting a brand new one out of nowhere, and there's going to be something potentially tied into Empires of Death, or perhaps the cliffhanger for next week's story is what leads into this potentially. I don't know, but it's just there's something a bit weird about this. The timing of this is what's really getting everyone talking, because the fact that it's happening on the Thursday, 2 days before Empire of Death, actually goes out. So there's obviously a reason for why they're doing this. And then on top of that, not only are they showing this Doctor Who broadcast, they're actually also repeating Talking Doctor Who, which is a program David Tennant did at the 60th anniversary, where he talks about the classic years of Doctor Who. The fact that they're showing this makes me want, is that a hint? Maybe David Tennant's 14th Doctor might be returning in the season finale? What do you reckon? Do you reckon they're teasing David Tennant's potential return here? I mean, from what we were told from Russell, I mean, the 14th Doctor's not supposed to be around. But yeah, I wonder if he lied about, and that maybe the 14th is coming back in some form in the season 4, season 1's for the last episode of season 1. That definitely seems to be hinted that these elements are going to be involved in that story, or in this two-parter that's going to begin next week. So pretty interesting timing, I say. Let's get back on to the next sections of the video. Now, of course, as well as that, we did have some news about the BBC. They're talking about a celebration for crime drama. They're doing a bit of a celebration on the 12th of June at 10 p.m. They're going to be celebrating the crime drama season on BBC4, where they're essentially going to be repeating some previous crime dramas, all sorts of different dramas that the BBC has held over the years. From the likes of some classic ones, including the one featuring Peter Davison called Captain, which ran from 1989 to 1990, and it's based on the Alvin Chapman mystery novels, which were written back then. And obviously, Peter Davison takes the role of the title role of that drama. We have John Sims' Life on Mars will be getting a repeat at some point over the coming weeks, so there'll be an opportunity to catch up part of the crime drama season. Also, Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freedom in the Sherlock series, which Stephen Moffat written. There'll be opportunities to see previous classic Death in Paradise, Happy Valley, Hinchland, Inspector Lyra Mysteries, Jonathan Creek, Law and Order, Line of Duty, Luther, Utrix, Sherlands, The Cop, Waking the Dead, Warland, just to name some of the crime dramas they're going to be repeating on BBC4 on Wednesday evenings at 10 a.m. If you want to see any of these crime dramas as a way for them to basically celebrate this crime dramas that have been going on for 6 decades on the BBC. As I thought I would give that a shout for any Doctor Who fans who want to see any of these crime dramas that BBC have made featuring previous Doctor Who stars who are going to likely be featured as part of this season, which is quite nice. So it gives you a chance to see BBC's best crime dramas that they've done, and they're going to be doing a whole summer of it for Wednesday evenings, which might be worth checking out if you haven't already. Yeah, so that gives you a bit of a taste on that. And of course, we also have to acknowledge the fact that Rhys Shearsmith from Inside Number 9, he also appeared in, I'm pretty sure, is the guy who played the second Doctor in the docudrama. I thought I would give him a shout because he is going to be featured along with Lenny Henry, who also appeared in Doctor Who. They're going to be featured in the brand new Wallace and Gromit animation. Yes, if you haven't heard already, Wallace and Gromit is returning this year, and they're bringing back their villainous penguin. Feather McGowan is making a return in a gnome-dawn tale called Vengeance Most Foil. It's going to be coming this Christmas. It's a feature length. It's going to be basically 70 minutes in length. It's also going to be found on Netflix outside of the UK if you want that out. And essentially, this whole story is pretty much talking about sort of the whole, it's basically about this whole UI sort of thing. This whole revolution of UI is essentially going to be the groundwork of the storyline that they're sort of telling for the new Wallace and Gromit, and also a chance to bring back an old villain from the past to celebrate Wallace and Gromit's return, which is really nice to see that these our good friends Wallace and Gromit making a global return to BBC this year. I'm sure a lot of people are very excited after hearing the fact that Wallace and Gromit will indeed be returning this year, and they're going to be bringing back that villainous penguin we haven't seen since The Wrong Trousers, which, funny enough, was quite some time ago. Funny enough, it was in 1993 when they had this villain last appeared. So yeah, it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be quite a showing. So yeah, I thought I'd give a shout for that. If you're a fan of, if any Doctor Who fans are a fan of Wallace and Gromit, it's making a return this Christmas, along with obviously Doctor Who, Gavin and Stacey, and of course the returning Outnumbered, because of course the young lady playing Sue, she'll be returning in Outnumbered this year. So that's another comedy making a return this Christmas. Very, very excited that we're getting all these returning faces for Christmas, and Wallace and Gromit is adding the pile Christmas 2024, which I'm sure a lot. And also, another person to mention is Peter Kay is returning to Wallace, is going to be returning to Wallace and Gromit, playing Chief Inspector PC Macintosh, based on the Macintosh. I love it. I love they managed to get Peter Kay, because man, I missed that man's voice. So it's going to be great to hear him in the new Wallace and Gromit this year. The viewing figures before we head off, of course, and that is the official figures for 73 yards is obviously for the TV ratings, that's 3.77 million. For the +4 screen, that's 4.6 million, whereas the overnight figures for last week's episode was 2.12 million. So not many were watching last week's story, Dot and Bobble, which is very interesting. So not many people were too fond about that, weren't too fond about the story compared to 73 yards. Very interesting. But nevertheless, and by the way, there is also an A3 calendar that's also coming later this year. It's basically a comic version of the calendar, which they're going to be rolling out for the end of the year to celebrate the new year 2025, as they're going to start rolling out 2025 calendars later in the year for Doctor Who. So this is basically the start of that. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you all for my review tomorrow, looking at Rogue in preparation of the final 2 weeks this series coming up. So yeah, we've only got 2 more weeks left, which is kind of crazy. 2 more weeks, and yeah, it's basically the end of the series. Pretty crazy. But anyway, catch you all in the next one.